Hello, everybody. I'm Anthony Rockers Live with the Yellow Submarine, and today is day 10 of 30 Day Song Challenge, and this one is a song that is from your childhood. Okay, so this song is going to be a little bit more on the conversation rather than the song. So the song that I decided to choose, which is wasn't the title on the album, and this is by I will say this. It's from Pantera from Reinventing the Steel, and you guessed it, you got it right. Cause couldn't tell which song was this from this in that era. I'll give you hints. It looks like this. That's right. It was from the SpongeBob SquarePants show, where in the episode Pre-Hibernation Week, which arguably, besides it's in the bottom of my second or third favorite episode, or it's actually my third favorite episode, but below so far it can be interchangeable. This one, my number one favorite is Bang Geeks episode and the Secret Box. And the second one, my number two so far has got to be Chocolate with Nuts. And I forgot the other one. I think it was Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, I believe. But I haven't seen SpongeBob SquarePants in a while, and I'm actually kind of glad because especially how a lot of... Personally, I found SpongeBob SquarePants a little overrated these days, especially how they keep moving on. They're forcing them to keep making seasons and seasons. Almost like they're trying to force it to be like The Simpsons or Sesame Street, where they keep going and going until pretty much it's dead. Which like everybody said, even though the shows are gone and they're not going to continue and you may not see them for a while, but at least we still have them in our hearts. For SpongeBob SquarePants, this was on season 2, which season 2 is hands down my favorite season. Besides season 1 and 3, season 2 is my favorite season out of so far season 1 through 3. I know a lot of people would have said, but what about season 1 and 3? They're all my favorites. Season 1 and 3. But personally, if you had to choose which ones, I would choose season 2. It's not only because of the Bankies episode, it's mostly because of how I grew up with this. This made me, not only because in the Pre-Hibernation Week, I'll give you a quick rundown of what happened in the episode of Pre-Hibernation Week. So the episode of SpongeBob SquarePants, the intro had a crazy... It's very different than most SpongeBob SquarePants episode. Well, it's not that, but I can see how it's different because this day came out at the right time. So, this episode, in the episode of SpongeBob SquarePants, they used a song called "Death Rattle" from the Reinventing the Steel album, which I actually do enjoy this album. Personally, it's not my favorite album from Pantera. It might actually be my third favorite Pantera album so far. And my first favorite has got to be "Cowboys from Hell." And fun fact. Cowboys from Hell is one of the first songs I've ever heard from Pantera. Besides the songs like Death Rattle. But Death Rattle was one of the first songs I've ever heard from Pantera. But if you're talking about like as the hits, like one of the first hits I've ever listened to was Cowboys from Hell and Walk. Death Rattle was actually one of the first songs I've ever listened to entirely. And later on in my young because I was... If you didn't know, I was one of those kids that were born around the time nu metal was huge at the time. It's a subgenre that it's an absolute love or hate. You think it's because you cannot go between. You either think you find that subgenre enjoyable, or you're going to basically say, yeah, I'm not going to listen to this subgenre because it's basically killing metal. Personally, I do actually enjoy nu metal quite a bit. For certain bands. My favorite, I've said this a bunch of times in my videos that my favorite nu metal band, hands down, is System of a Down because they actually kept it true to their subgenre, not subgenre, but more specifically, they stayed true to the heavy metal. And all these other nu metal bands, trend followers, basically are the nu metal guys are basically, you can basically call them boy bands nowadays. But because they followed trends so much that they became a pop band, which isn't disgraceful, especially as a band name too. But okay, back to SpongeBob SquarePants. The reason why I grew up with this episode is because I remember the first time I saw this episode on TV at the time, and I was young at the time. I actually remember when the episode premiered, and oh my gosh, when that episode premiered, when that intro of the episode, and not to mention the episode, like, have you noticed like in the, how you call it? I forget how you call it, like a movement, like its movements in the background behind the text of Pre-Hibernation Week. That one was intense. Not to mention that song. I remember this was one of the first songs I've ever listened. Not only one of the first ones I've ever listened to, but that was one of the first songs I was just like, oh, I love it already. I mean, this not only this song got me into metal, but System of a Down, because I also, by the way, my father, what more specifically my family, including my siblings and my parents at the time, they had the Toxicity album for many years, and I grew up with that album a lot, and that's why it's my favorite album from System of a Down. And not only that, most of the songs on that album I grew up with, and I remember listening to it on my later adult life. I was like, oh my gosh, this brings back so much memories of when I remember listening to them with my older brother and my father at the time. And I remember my father and my older brother was there at the time, including me. I was riding in their truck because my father was working at the time a lot more than before. Because I mean, nowadays I've been helping him. I've been working with him with mechanic work. So yeah, he's been struggling a lot back then, but man, did have so much fun memories. I remember me and my older brother and my father jam out in the truck all the time with that song. Oh, so much memories. Oh, I love it. I love how in the episode of Pre-Hibernation Week, I love how the episode starts off with Sandy trying to do her Pre-Hibernation Week, which is I kind of want to put it as like an episode review too, because this is a song that I grew up with, not only because of growing up and actually love Pantera nowadays, but more specifically, it's showing my appreciation of how metal got me. It not only this got me into metal, but System of a Down definitely got me into metal, definitely. Not only to mention Linkin Park, they got me a little bit on metal, but not really, because I mean Linkin Park, they were more on new metal. They weren't like heavy metal. They were more new metal, if you will. Because I mean, new metal doesn't have guitar solos. Let's put it that way. I mean, you can hear it a little bit, but here's the thing about guitar solos in new metal. You don't hear that. It's not that audible compared to what you hear in heavy metal or like literally any subgenres. Well, I mean, besides some subgenres that you may not hear that much, but new metal is one of those genres that relies more on hip hop and rapping, which I say it 1,000 times because I mean I was one of those kids that grew up in the new metal era, if you will, in the late 90s and the early 2000s. And then in the mid 2000s, I always thought all the time like the mid 2000s were like the day the music died, because I feel like, I mean, don't get me wrong, in 2005 we had System of a Down, which they were actually awesome at the time. I mean, they weren't like that awesome compared to especially the Toxicity or self-titled debut album. But I kind of had a feeling like the late 2000s was pretty much like saying goodbye to music. And nowadays we have these modern pop music that it's pretty cringy to listen to, that I hate most of the times. But mostly it's because it's not about making music anymore. It's basically all about trying to be on the radio these days. And especially they sing like the same melodies. And not to mention the rappers these days are so freaking cringy for the most part. And I don't know. I mean, part of me wants to say I hate modern music. Mostly it's because they don't make it all about making music these days. Back in the day, it used to be all about making music, and it's not about like trying to be on the radio or trying to sing, like trying to make it a pop hit. They were actually trying to make it more on making music. I wish more music like this today was like that. But back to SpongeBob SquarePants. Okay, so the reason why I put I mean, I'm gonna have to title this "Death Rattle" from Pantera. Mostly it's because I tried to do some research on the soundtrack for that episode. Oh yeah, Pre-Hibernation Week and Life of Crime. I think they were both. I think they were both combined episodes. And the reason why I decided to title this Death Rattle, because I mean, first of all, it's the original song title, and not to mention, they call it Pre-Hibernation Instrumental, which is pretty stupid. I don't know why would they even name it that way. They should have just called it like Death Rattle. I mean, they should have put it like Death Rattle in the episode. Cause I mean, it's kind of dumb when you put instrumental. Because I actually remember hearing the song for Pre-Hibernation Week instrumental before I got into Pantera. And in the intro, you hear like SpongeBob Patrick keep saying jellyfish and jellyfish, which that actually got me a laugh. It then slaps you in the face from Pantera, like wow. And by the way, this song Death Rattle, they in the SpongeBob SquarePants episode, they actually took some of the snippets, if you will. They took the snippets from Death Rattle song and decided to make it a little. If I recall, I think they took it a little slower than the original, because I believe in the SpongeBob SquarePants version it was a little slower because it was like like something like that. But then in Death Rattle you hear like I think it is actually. Because in the Pre-Hibernation Week episode, in the instrumental part, it was actually slower than the original. A little slower. But it still had a thrash metal sound. Just like pretty much Pantera had a thrash metal. sound in groove metal. Because I mean, I've always considered Pantera as one of the groove metal bands. Because I mean, groove metal is one of those subgenres that, and I much prefer that over nu metal easily. I much prefer that over nu metal, even though I'm not a big fan of groove metal as a subgenre. Because I mean, there wasn't that many popular bands. I understand there's also like there's a couple bands out there, and not only in the U.S. but there's also a couple bands in other countries that are doing this subgenre of groove metal, but it's not that popular in the America. I guess I mean that's pretty much what the mainstream is, but it's mostly the mainstream music industry is pretty much. But another thing is too is that this song, I believe I said this before in my video. And by the way, I did an album review of Pantera's Reinventing the Steel, not only just for fun, but basically celebrating a 20-year anniversary of this album. And that was around the time I was actually a kid. I mean, not a kid, but I was like a toddler at the time. I was a toddler at the time when this album came out, and not to mention. This album, I believe, this actually came out around the time I was actually going to be born. Well, I mean, no, I was actually a toddler. Yeah, I was a toddler at the time, too. Well, I was actually a newborn baby actually. The truth is, I was a newborn baby at the time when this album came out, so I actually had a lot of memories of not only this music, but has so much memories of the music in that show. When SpongeBob SquarePants used to be awesome. Nowadays, it's just basically becoming a sellout and basically all about appealing to the 5-year-olds rather than just making the seasons about arts. Just like music these days. It's basically a lot of start nowadays, pretty much. But back to the episode. The episode is SpongeBob's trying to go with Sandy. He wants to join Sandy on the pre-hibernation week. But later on, he realizes that he can't take it anymore. He wants to quit, but Sandy wants to keep pushing him like a sergeant trying to push his soldiers to do it. Pretty much. Well, I mean, I don't think Sandy didn't know that either. So she didn't know that at the time either. She didn't know that. And then SpongeBob decided to hide under a rock, because the reason why is because SpongeBob says he doesn't want to hide in his house is because Gary can't keep a secret. That was pretty funny. And then SpongeBob wants to hide on Patrick because I believe, if I recall, I think he said that it's so original. I think that's what he said. I could be wrong. I haven't seen the episode in a while. I want to watch that episode out after I make this video, after I upload this on YouTube. But Sandy finds out, especially SpongeBob accidentally leave his pants on the branches, and Sandy realizes, or she thought that SpongeBob's gone. So Sandy decides to go to everybody in the Krusty Krab to find SpongeBob. And I love how Sandy, I believe, was it Sandy? She said, SpongeBob's gone missing. And Squidward looks at Mr. Krabs and Squidward's the best part. I mean, Squidward, he's one of my favorite characters of SpongeBob. I mean, and then Mr. Krabs like, let in the front door. And Squidward's like, oh man. Squidward hates SpongeBob with a passion, which I can see that too. But well, I mean, there's actually some episodes that he can actually agree. He actually can respect SpongeBob for what he's done, and he actually has a heart in some of the episodes. I mean, that was where SpongeBob actually had a heart, and not to mention that was at the day where SpongeBob was all about making it for basically they were basically making it for art. Personally, for SpongeBob back in season 1 to 3, they were basically making it for art. Let's just be specific and real about this. But then, so now everybody's trying to find SpongeBob. And I love how Sandy decides to go to, I think it was Goo Lagoon, I believe, and decides to, tells everybody that they have no progress so far they're going. And I love how one of the guys, they misinterpreted of what Sandy said, and one of them grabs the guy and said, "Thanks, SpongeBob square," and then just squished him and said, I'm ready, that is good. And Sandy was like, no, you ain't. That's good. And Sandy says, that's just a cereal box. Besides, SpongeBob is yellow. Yellow? Yeah. SpongeBob is yellow. And he says, oh, here he is. And it's a banana. The way they interpreted what Sandy is saying is hilarious. And I believe everybody from Goo Lagoon decides to hide under a rock. Pretty much they basically want to go with what SpongeBob says. It's so original. And I love how Sandy finds out everybody's gone and just decides to find SpongeBob for herself. And I love how Sandy basically grabs on the buildings and throw them. Jeez, she has muscles on her, and I love how it becomes a running gag of one of the kids where Sandy raced down the snow hill, I believe it was called. She raced. No, I think it was Sponge. No, that was Sandy, I believe. She raced down, and then they switched them. I think it was the costumes from the kids, and then this fish has, and the kid fish, I forgot his name was. He has one of the most memorable lines, if not the most memorable line from season 2. I couldn't explain, and it became a running gag. And later on, when Sandy found out he was there in that building, that was funny. But everybody found SpongeBob accidentally said. Like, after everybody started to realize how much crazy Sandy is, it says how crazy the squirrel is, and SpongeBob agrees with him and accidentally said it out loud, saying, "You're right. Sandy will never find us in here." And then they turned around and looked in the left, and they saw SpongeBob. They heard a voice. It's Squidward. I love how Squidward just peeked out of there and said, "Oh, hey, look, it is I, SpongeBob, out down in the open." And Sandy just looked at him. That was creepy, the way she looked at him. It wasn't, like, terrifying or anything, but it was just creepy. But I love how kids like Sandy, after she finds him, decides to continue, but SpongeBob decides to toughen up and actually stands up for himself to show him who he is. And after SpongeBob said the whole entire speech, or you could basically call it a powerful words of wisdom, Sandy slept, pretty much. She didn't care. She just basically like, I just want to do something in my life. No, she didn't say that. But I'm guessing that's what she's basically saying in her head, pretty much. But SpongeBob is just laughing. Nah! I can't do it. I can't do a SpongeBob laugh. I'm sorry. That was terrible. But I can't, because Tom Kenny, he's a great voice in person. He's actually one of my favorite voice actors. And I love how after SpongeBob laughs, it basically says, "Thank God for I forget what he said exactly. He said, "Thank Neptune for hibernation." Ah! I can't do it. I can't do it. My voice is a little deep. Like, my voice is, I can't do it like a SpongeBob impersonating. It's pretty hard. I can't do it. But I love how Patrick later on, he goes to the rock and finds out everybody's under a rock because of their eyeballs. And Patrick has one of the famous lines too from the episode. "Who are you people?" That's the best. Patrick is one of my favorite characters. Pretty much I don't know who's my least favorite character of SpongeBob. I don't know. All of them are one of my favorites because they have so many funny and memorable lines from the show. But yeah, it's almost like an episode review from SpongeBob SquarePants, which I've already done one, which was called Atlantis SquarePants, which I talked about that episode and how much I hate the episode. Mostly it's because they had David Bowie as a cameo in the episode. They did not let him sing a single song. I don't even think they let him sing a single song. That is which is a complete slap in the face. That's like if Michael Jackson appeared in the Simpsons episode, if you remember that episode, but they did not let him sing in the episode. And yet, he actually did sing in the episode. Believe he sang twice. One, he sang Ben, I believe, if I remember. I haven't seen the episode in a while. And he also sang Lisa, It's Your Birthday, which is sweet. And I haven't seen the episode in a while, so I'm going to have to rewatch it again if I got it right. I don't know. You let me know in the comments down below. But that is it for this video. I'm just basically having fun with it. Not to mention, I'm just doing it just to show how I got into metal in the first place. It's not just because Pantera got me into metal. System of a Down definitely got me into metal. Not to mention Metallica got me more into a little bit on thrash metal. And so forth, So if you guys enjoyed the video, let me know in the comments down below what song was in your childhood while growing up and actually appreciate. Because mine is Death Rattle from Pantera, and that was from SpongeBob SquarePants. They used it pre-hibernation week, where at the time it was all about making art and not about trying to become famous pretty much on TV. But yeah, I just had fun with this episode, this video. And by the way, I also did an album review of Pantera, Reinventing the Steel. So I've already talked about Death Rattle song and how much I actually love the song because it had more of a death metal sound and a rhythm to it. I mean, even though it's a groove metal album, because I understand Pantera is a groove metal band, but because I understand groove metal is where it's one of the subgenres where it takes elements of heavy metal and thrash metal, but they took it down a little slower and more of a mid-rhythm simple, if you will. So far, what I know so far from groove metal. But this one, Death Metal is like one of the songs on the albums. Not the only song, but it's one of the songs that had more of a thrash metal sound, if you will. Like along with Hellbound, and there's some other songs out there. So I've already done a review of this album, so I don't want to talk too much on this album. So if you guys enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, tap the bell for notifications to go directly to that video, and share this video with your friends and family. And let me know in the comments down below. And this is day 10 of 30 Day Song Challenge. And this is a song that that was in your childhood. I mean, I'm gonna title it, so I'm gonna make it a better title than what I'm trying to say. So far, I forgot about what was it. But let me know in the comments down below. What is a song that you grew up with and actually you still watch it to this very day? Mine is easily Death Metal from SpongeBob SquarePants. I mean, that actually woke me from surprise because that was one of the songs I actually remember at the time when the episode premiered. I think it was at the time when it premiered. I remember I used to be like, kids, how when you were toddlers, you used to move around your body? I used to do that when I was young. Oh my gosh, it was so funny. My parents told me that all the time. Oh my gosh, I laughed. I mean, I wasn't embarrassed, but man, I mean, that was just getting down on metal pretty much. I mean, especially that metal is pretty much dead by now, and I'm kind of sad. I mean, kind of sad, but actually kind of happy because, I mean, if metal was popular right now, I feel like it would not been as better as what metal we had back then too. So, I mean, that's just personally. But I keep forgetting what I'm trying to say. My social media are in the description to follow me there, Facebook and Instagram. I haven't been activated. I haven't been active a lot lately on social media. Mostly it's because I've been busy a lot lately, especially what's going on in the world war that's happening right now. Not just like the protests or stuff like that, but the virus that's going on still. Oh my gosh, it feels like it's going on for a long time. I mean, does it goes to show you that some people don't care about they don't care about like taking care of themselves. That's why it keeps going on for so long, because this is why it's going on for a long time. I feel like this is going to go on for like forever because people are not taking care of themselves. They're not doing the right thing. Especially like I remember like me and my parents or my mom. I mostly drive with my dad to go somewhere to not only go to stores and stuff like that. Well, I mean, we don't go there that often. We mostly stay at home, just like what we're doing right now for safety. But mostly depends on how we work too. We had to go to stores to buy mechanic parts for the engineers, stuff like that, because that's what we're doing. So we're trying our best not to go every places that as possible, because I know a lot of people are so open-minded to go all over the place. And let me give you a message to you: do not under circumstances do not go everywhere every day. It's not about going everywhere. It's mostly about taking care of not only yourself but your family members too. But I hope this gets better over time. At the end of the year, I hope it gets better. I mean, I don't know. This year's already getting like probably the worst start of the generation already. Probably. I mean, I don't know. This is kind of like if 1999 evolved to 2000, like how crazy and terrifying this is. And this is kind of how it is nowadays. It's kind of still is like that too, right now. It's like a nightmare right here. I mean, because it's a little different too. Because I mean, I don't know. I don't want to talk too much about this subject matter, but yeah. If you guys, I mean, god dang, I keep repeating what I'm trying to say when I'm about to end the video. I will see you in the next video. As always, change the world. Peace and love. And also, keep headbanging. And also, stay healthy. Because you don't know, try the hardest to stay healthy because it's still going on. I don't care if a lot of people are saying, oh, it's over or it's gone. No, it's still going on. People are saying this because they believing it's gone, which it's not. They don't watch the news that often about anything anymore. I mean, I understand. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have nothing against politics or news or anything. I don't watch those that often anymore, mostly because they touch on like this certain topics over and over again. And it doesn't, because you know how back then they used to talk about, I mean, sure, there was news that they talked about different topics and whatnot, but nowadays they talk about like the same things over and over and over again. It's kind of a little repetitive. It gets way repetitive, personally. I wish they could talk about like news, about like movies or video games, stuff like that. I wish they used to do that all the they used to do that all the time back then too. But I will see you in the next video. Keep headbanging to metal music. Heck yeah. I mean, if you're a metalhead, I mean, this is what my channel is. Because if you don't know me, I mean, you already should know who I am. I'm a heavy thrash metalhead, and pretty much SpongeBob SquarePants, the System of a Down got me into metal, and of course Metallica got me more into thrash metal. That's all you need to know how I became a metalhead. But I'm gonna do more. After I'm done doing a 30-day song challenge. Promise you I'm going to do more album reviews because the reason why I haven't been doing them lately is because I've said this 1,000 times because of doing the challenge, and mostly it's because I've been busy. I have to upload each video a day for a week, so just to make it easier, and I had to hang out with my families mostly, especially because of this season going on too. So keep on banging.